There once stood an abandoned house in a small village. It was old and weathered, with cracked walls and broken windows. The locals called it the Whispering Home, and for good reason. People who lived nearby swore they could hear faint voices calling out to them from behind its boarded-up doors. Some said it was the house's way of claiming souls, luring unsuspecting victims inside so it could feed off their life force. Others claimed it was haunted by the spirits of children who once lived there, forever trapped in an endless game of hide-and-seek. The legends surrounding the house were so numerous that no one dared approach it, especially after sunset. If you did, so the stories went, the house would call out to you too. It would beckon you closer with promises of forgotten lore or family secrets waiting to be unearthed. And once you stepped foot inside, you wouldn't come out the same ever again. But one night, 4 friends decided to put these rumors to the test. They were all skeptics, figures who believed that no house could possibly be evil. As they walked closer, the trees around them seemed to whisper in the wind, creating an eerie atmosphere that made their shadows dance menacingly on the ground. Still, none of them were scared, not until they heard it. Faint voices that seemed to emerge from the house itself, soft murmurs that carried on the night breeze. When they stopped to listen, the voices faded away, leaving an unnerving silence in their wake. But the friends weren't deterred. Armed with flashlights and cameras, they pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The interior was just as creepy as the exterior. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like macabre decorations. Dust lay thick on every surface, undisturbed for decades. And the air was heavy with the scent of decay. They moved through the house cautiously, their whispers echoing in the vast emptiness. As they split up to search different rooms, each discovered something strange. One found an old photo album filled with images of smiling faces that seemed to stare back accusingly. Another came across a rocking chair, swaying gently on its own in the corner. A third saw the silhouette of a woman in a long, flowing dress standing at the window, even though there wasn't anyone there when he turned the light on. At first they laughed nervously, trying to convince themselves that there was a logical explanation for everything they were seeing. But then they started hearing it again, faint voices, but this time they were clear. Each of their names being called out, not by any living person, but by their own family members. They froze, unsure of what to do. Should they run? Would whatever was in the house come after them? Then they realized something terrifying. Every voice seemed to be coming from the same room, the room they had all entered through. In a panic, they raced toward the front door, but it was gone. In its place was a solid wall. They checked the windows, but those were boarded up too. Trapped with nowhere else to go, they huddled together in the corner, listening to the whispers growing louder, morphing into screams. Then as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The house was silent. Breathless, they stumbled outside only to find that the sun was rising. They had spent the entire night in that one room, but how? How had they gotten there? When they looked back at the house, they saw that the front door was no longer blocked by a wall. Relief washed over them as they hurried away, not stopping until they reached the safety of their homes. But later that day, when they gathered to share their experiences, one of them noticed something disturbing. On the camera, the house had spoken. As they watched in horror, a ghostly white figure emerged from the shadows. It moved closer, its face contorted in a silent scream, and then it vanished. In the corner of the screen, a message appeared, chilling them to the bone. You should never have entered. Terrified, they agreed to never speak of that night again, hoping to bury the memory of the Whispering House deep within themselves. But some things are best left undisturbed, and their curiosity had unleashed something evil that neither they nor their village would ever be free of.